Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video talking about the pattern and what has been going on across the country, or what will be going on, and just overall weather regime, the long range outlook, kind of one of those type of videos. As there's also a threat for a pretty large system across the south over this coming weekend into Sunday and Monday that could bring some severe weather. So I'll probably do a live stream about that come Sunday, Monday. But as of now, it has calmed down. The biggest thing we have right now is that storm that passed through the central part of the country earlier on in the day today and yesterday, and you could see that we see this across the northeast, and it'll push into Boston, Massachusetts, New York with some rain, and New Jersey, but mainly some lighter snowfall amounts, nothing too heavy. A few pockets maybe getting up to half a foot or above. But if you're to look at the GFS model and take this through, let's switch to the MSLP so we can also see the mean sea level pressure. That's what the MSLP means or stands for. And you could see, well, not exactly. Let's do rain and frozen. So we can see that after the storm passes through, we get a little cool off across the United States, but it really rebounds. Saturday should be a warm day, so tomorrow should be a warm day across much of the country. A bit rainy for the northeast, but anywhere else it should be pretty good. You can see across Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, just really nice conditions, not much going on. System to the north in Canada, but otherwise it's just that storm across the East Coast. And then we see a more drastic cool down across Sunday, Monday. It's not going to be anything what we've seen where it's just been ridiculously cold. It's not going to be bad at all, in my opinion. It's going to be pretty, mild, just a little bit cooler than average, especially across this part of the country, kind of in this outlined line. It seems to be the trend for the next, even they're saying 3 to 4 weeks, that this part of the country may be cooler than average. Maybe not cold, bitterly cold conditions like we've seen, or obviously wouldn't be, winter-like temperatures, but it could be a little bit unseasonably chilly for April and May, but nothing too out of the ordinary. And you can see it's only a small section of the country. So this is where things start getting a little bit dicey. We start seeing a big storm right here across Sunday and Monday, late Sunday into Monday. We have this pretty large rain maker and severe weather maker. You can see right there that's some severe weather. Probably going to be an enhanced or a moderate risk. I don't think there's going to be a high risk. I know they already issued an enhanced risk. They may have to upgrade that to a moderate risk as this comes closer. And you can see that is pretty significant storm right there across Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. So we'll probably see more and more of those storms as we come into the longer range, probably just increasing those rainmakers with severe weather. Then that passes through, moves up off the East Coast, doesn't move up into the Northeast. It's just a little bit too offshore, and we get a little bit of a cooler temperature blast according to the GFS. The GFS may or may not be reliable for these temperatures right now. Right here, it's been on some goofy trends lately, especially in the long range, but overall it's not done a bad job. And you can see that brings up another potential storm across Thursday into Wednesday into Thursday, and again possibly severe weather across the Alabama, Georgia area. And this one's a bigger storm, more widespread. Then we see another system into Friday and Saturday. It doesn't seem malignant, or doesn't seem benign. It doesn't seem malignant. It seems more calm and peaceful, rather just some rain. But then we see another one next Saturday, next Sunday. You can see some more severe weather possibly. So it's just ongoing threat of these large systems. You can see that's already our third one in this short time, and probably more to come. You can see there's another one just further up north. And while we'll be doing all this, storm coverage, the temperatures will be kind of bouncing on and off between above average and below average, with again probably a warmer than average towards the south and west, and colder towards the north and east of the United States. You can see it's just these little lobes rotating across the northeastern part of the country into New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and that kind of continues. You get a little bit of warmth, but then it's followed by a little bit of cool. So it's just on and off, no real pattern that it's dominant. That's a typical summertime pattern where it's kind of on and off, a little bit cooler, a little bit warmer. Again, it's not summer yet, but it's getting towards the climate's starting to adjust towards the longer days, and you can see that, for example, right there would be a couple of warm days, and then followed by big cool down with the storm. So it's really just up to probably the weather in the summer is just really driven not maybe by the large factors like jet streams and like the PNA, the NAO, but mainly like storms where they set up and where the highs and lows go and how they form. That's where ridges are usually it's very warm, lows is where it's cooler. So that's how usually it pans out. Let's look at the total accumulated precipitation. If we were to look at it 384 hours, you could see very significant amounts across the eastern United States, especially even across the Northeast, Ohio, Indiana, Mississippi, the Ohio Valley, but really just getting intense across Alabama, Georgia, and into Mississippi. You could see way over 6 inches possibly, which I wouldn't be doubting that, especially with all the severe weather that could be going on. And across Seattle, Washington, a little bit of rain also. Not much for California though. That's not bad, definitely. A little bit of rain. It's not anything that at least it's something. They kind of need the rain. And if we were to look at the ensembles, we could see that if we were to look at the ensembles and look at the anomalies of the precipitation, 7-day total precip anomaly, you could see that it's going to be more of those wet green colors across the eastern United States, especially the south, and maybe more of the dry yellow colors across the western United States. And that seems to be the pattern you can see. That kind of holds itself, especially across the southern United States. You could see Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. So that's definitely something to take note of. They'll stay a little bit drier across some parts of the Midwest as well, but right here staying very significantly above average. Let's look at just the PWAT norm anomaly, which is basically showing us like the humidity levels in the atmosphere and how that's all playing out. It tells us precipitable water atmospheric content. That's basically what it is, and precipitable water normalized anomaly. That's what it is. And you can see that we get again surges of those greens pretty frequently as we get those storm influxes, but it has a fair share of brown colors as well, where there's a little bit of dry period. But notice that the southern U.S. probably takes the most green, and the west takes the most, I guess, drier colors, and the north as well, as that is where the cooler, drier air is, and that's usually associated with, again, the cool air is usually drier, so that's why on this graphic it shows that pretty clearly. Let's look at the European ensemble members. I'm not sure. Yeah, they don't have any precipitation products. We could look at just the 850 millibar height anomaly. This is a little bit higher up in the atmosphere. Still a kind of a good model to show where some cooler and warmer temperatures may be occurring. But generally, this is a little bit too high to show, to be kind of too high to have really much, I guess, correlation with what's happening at the surface. But generally, this kind of lays out perfectly that it should demonstrate that these locations up here will be cooler, and then anywhere west, south, and southwest of that should be really just above average. So these locations will have a early start to spring, maybe even summer with some very warm temperatures. Well, these locations, spring/winter may still hang on, though no big snowstorms are looking to be panning out. It seems like that threat is mainly over. I mean, it's already past mid-April, April 17th as of recording this video. So again, I guess the prime time for spring snowstorms has kind of lulled, and again, we are still seeing that little system across the Northeast right now, and that's kind of like that last little push. I know that we here in Chicago, O'Hare got 3 inches of snow. Further south, it was a little bit more. And then portions of southern Iowa got up to a foot of snow with that event, so that was definitely pretty spot on forecast from the National Weather Service, and they did a good job as well. So I'd also like to show you the European model precipitation outlook. So if you were to look at the European model right now, it's also showing some pretty good amounts of rain, especially across the south. Okay, let's go to rain. That was snow. You can see especially across the south. Again, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, kind of Dixie Alley. You can see seeing lots of rain, and that's associated with that severe weather and those big storms. 5, 6, 7 inches widespread, lessening as we go further up to the north, but still generous amounts, 1 to 2 inches, and across the Northeast, pretty large amounts as well. Just less as you go up into North South Dakota, which they kind of need that, but I guess at least they won't have a over sogged planting, right now if they're already getting ready for planting. Many locations still have some snow on the ground, but at least they won't have too wet of the wet soil with so little precip forecast. You can see Seattle, the west, seeing a little bit of rain as well, and then California seeing a little bit as well, but not much for the desert southwest, and it's kind of expected. You can see Denver, the mountains are also seeing a little bit of precip, but generally it's just across the eastern United States where they see a lot of precipitation. I also just like looking at this map overall, at the country, at the world, and other countries. You can see here's like that belt of going through the Amazon, very intense rains, 6 inches. But in the southern hemisphere, all the weather travels this way. It's kind of different, so that's cool to note of. And also, if you look at Europe, it seems to be very dry, very dry, especially across Eastern Europe. France, Spain, maybe seeing a little bit more, especially Italy, but really across Eastern Europe, not much at all. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.